Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Pod-ket Monsters. I'm Jeff Grizzolrich, and with me as always, the Suicune to my Raikou, Dustin Cunningham. How are you, Dustin?
I'm excellent. I'm now a married man.
You're a married man. Fantastic.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Rounding out our legendary dog trio for today, our Entei. You've seen him
I'm
featured
so
on...
glad that you said that. I was
Right?
hoping you would
Yeah.
say that.
You've seen him on IGN, GameSpot, Spawn on Me, and on the Kinda Funny Games Daily. It's Cameron Hawkins. How you doing, Cam?
Good. You know, we were watching this England-Italy game, and no one. It's a tie right now, so
No one wants to win.
yeah, no one wants to win. But I'm here. I'm ready to talk about Pokemon. I love Pokemon.
Darn right. So what we usually do, Cam, is we run through a little bit of news, in the world of Pokemon, and then after we get through that, we'll get into our main topic, which today is Pokemon, the movie 3, which is one of its many names.
I cannot ever remember that. I always say Pokemon 3, the movie. I literally can't.
I always said Pokemon the third movie.
That's what I usually say as well. It's Pokemon 3, the movie. Spell of the unknown. Pokemon 3, the movie. Spell of the unknown. Right.
That's the full title.
Yeah. It's obnoxious,
All right.
man. But yeah, so starting off with the news, we are in the middle right now of Pokemon Go's fifth anniversary. It started Tuesday, July 6th, and runs through Thursday, July 15th at 8 o'clock local time, wherever you are. Trainers can catch all sorts of fun stuff, including shiny Darumaka, flying Pikachu with a special 5-shaped balloon, as well as Chespin, Finnegan, and Froakie, who are appearing in 1-star raids along with the special Pikachu and Darumakas. So, obviously, Dustin has already said that he's caught a few. Cam, do you still play Pokemon Go?
I don't. I was big into it when it came out, and then I hopped in and out of it. It's on my phone. I have it download. I've had it download on my phone. I
think you have a gift from me. You should probably open that.
it's. I remember when we did trade gifts a lot. That was the last time I got really into it. It's just I'm not a mobile gamer. I just can't
See, here's the thing, though. We were all just talking about ways to lose weight and be active. Pokemon Go is a great way to just walk your dog and play, because that's what I will do. Is I'll walk Zelda and I'll go a little bit further because I'm like, well, it's a Pokestop over there, and I'll just keep going.
That's fair. See, the thing with Astra though is Astra is very curious and adventurous. So she will be like, no, I want to go this way. It's not to a point where I'm just where I can't. I'm like, oh, we have to go this way now. But it's just I have to manage her a little bit too much, where I can feel like I can casually look on my phone, making sure she doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Mischievous, because she can be a little troublemaker sometimes.
My problem right now is that Mando gets overheated way too quickly. And so I don't even make it all the way to the Pokestop near my house before Mando's tired and wants to go home.
That's another thing. It's super hot in Reno, to the point where you unless you give your dog booties,
you have to
walking on the sidewalk.
You have to walk them at nighttime basically.
Yeah, or let them in a backyard if you have grass or something like that. Yeah,
which I don't have. So,
well, but there is more stuff with this Pokemon Go 5th anniversary. In addition to all those things. If you open a mystery box right now, you can potentially get a shiny Meltan, the mystery box being the item you get for using the transfer feature between Pokemon Let's Go and the Pokemon Go. And then there's also appearing in abundance are all the first partner Pokemon from all the generations that they've had in the game so far. And you also get those from research tasks. And, of course, all the lure items are available and are extended for an extra 30 minutes. So they all work for an hour, including the specialty lures.
It's all cool that this is leading up into Pokemon Go Fest next weekend.
Yeah.
That's
perfectly
pretty cool
timed.
That there's yeah. And I think that's why they did it, which that's one thing as well, too, that should be fun. Is you're going to do that as well, too, right? Next weekend, Jeff?
That's the plan. But we'll see. Things change all the time.
Right. Pokemon Go Fest always seems cool. When I see, I know that Andrew Goldfarb is a big Pokemon
he's super
Go
into it.
So when I always thought I was like, man, this makes me want to get into Pokemon Go. But then I play
like $5, right? Like, isn't it?
It's super
only
cheap this
$5?
year. Yeah, normally it's
Yeah.
more, but it's super cheap this year.
Isn't
That's
it
why
in
I didn't do it
Chicago
last year.
normally?
Yeah, so they usually do an in-person event, and I believe it's been in Chicago all 3 times that they had it. But last year it was canceled. They did a virtual thing, so it was wherever you were, and then they're doing that again this year. I imagine next year they'll go back to having a in-person
I was gonna
event.
say, I assume this will be the last time they do the virtual thing.
I'm hoping that they will take from this and keep some of it, but you may have already heard that Pokemon Go was rolling back some of the changes that they made during the pandemic to make you didn't have to get as close to the Pokestops to hit them. They're rolling a lot of that back, so a lot of people are unhappy about that because personally, I don't think I should have to get within 5 feet of the Pokestop to be able to hit it. As long as I'm out, that's all that matters, right?
It is kind of silly, but I'm excited to actually participate in the Go Fest because last year I couldn't afford to do it. I just kind of.
It was like $20 last year.
Yeah,
it was not nothing.
One thing I did want to say real fast too as well, Jeff, is we did not ask Cam his history with Pokemon before starting the news. Would we like to interject that now, or would you like to do that?
I was going to do the news and then do that before we dive in.
I like it that way more now.
The next thing on our docket of news, Pokemon Master Journeys, the series, premieres exclusively on Netflix in US on September 10th. But they have released a trailer. Have you guys seen the trailer for Master Journeys?
I've been waiting to talk to you about this. I'll see what Cam says first, though, but I got stuff
I
to say.
haven't seen the trailer.
Have you watched any of Pokemon Journeys on Netflix?
I haven't. The last time I really kind of got into the anime, it was like I kind of just wanted to see all of the gym, a compilation of all the gym leader battles, all of the competitions with what was his partner's name in Gen 6 in the Kalos region, Serene, right?
Serena. Oh no,
Serena, yeah.
I'm forgetting it now. No, one of them is Serena, but the other one is
it's Serena. It's Serena, yeah. So I watched up to that, and I haven't watched any of the Alola stuff, or the what's the newest
Journeys
generation? The region.
Galar.
Galar, yeah. So I'm kind of behind on that end, but I've seen things on Twitter and of the guy traveling with Ash and the Score Bunny and things like that. So I have a general idea on things regarding it.
I honestly would say every Pokemon fan should watch the first episode of Journeys because it's very, very wholesome and it kind of fills in a gap for all Pokemon fans. And it literally made me feel way more emotional than I thought I was going to. And that's all I'll say without spoiling it. I really like the first episode of the series.
In general, I think Journeys, you watch a couple of episodes to see if it grabs you at all, because it is still very much a Pokemon anime.
Yes.
And, but they've added, a new character in Go, is his name, which is, I still think is the stupidest name they could have given that guy, but whatever.
Go is his name?
His name is Go.
G-O-H.
Guess what his deal is, Cam? He catches Pokemon like you catch them in Pokemon Go.
He doesn't like to battle.
He doesn't
Pokemon.
battle
He'll
them.
Just throw the
he
ball.
just throws a Pokeball.
Yeah. Jeff has a lot of problems with Go.
I got a lot of problems with Go.
But what I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay, but let's be honest here. Let's not pretend that Ash hasn't gotten new Pokemon for the exact same reason.
No,
you know what I mean?
I get it. I just
it's friendship,
Yeah, but they're volunteering. He's interacted with them and then they volunteer. With Go, it's oh, look, a Weedle. Bam. Hits him with the ball. Got him. Oh, look, a freaking legendary Pokemon. Bam. Just starts throwing.
Legendary Pokemon. Pokeball.
He just throws Pokeballs at these things. He was all about catching Zapdos when he showed up.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this, though, Jeff, because I'm so blanking on her name. What's the character's name that we were wanting to see more of?
Oh my god. If you had asked me 15 minutes ago, I had it in my head and I've already forgotten.
Yeah, I'm blanking on her name and I cannot find it here. But basically there's a third character in the show, and she doesn't really. She's kind of been sidelined a lot, but it seems like in this new series, she's coming along with them on their journey, and it's just like really cool because Jeff literally was talking about what we wanted to see in the show, and that was one of the things was like more from her, and it's just cool that that's actually something that's happening.
Yeah, and
the trailer was really cool. It looks cool. I'm excited.
Chloe, there it is.
Yeah.
But it's also fun because this one is doing what I kind of predicted they would do in the next season of the show, which was really dive into Ash's competition through the World Coronation series. Ash is competing to be the best trainer in the world. Is the
yeah, and there's like an actual ranking, like there's a ranking system, and then they can battle other trainers that are like to like get themselves higher into the coronation. And obviously the top of it is Leon from
Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yeah. So
that's stupid. No, it should be like it should be the people that Ash lost to that won the championships in the past. Like that would be really fucking cool.
That would be really cool, but I don't think that think that they're taking that approach because they keep making each new season is not made for the people who watched the previous season. It's made for
the next group of
10-year-olds.
But didn't Leon fight Lance in one of the episodes?
He did, yes. Leon fought Lance in one of the episodes, and Leon won.
What? No, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
that's bullshit. Lance would have whooped Leon. Stop with this. Also, here's the thing: like, you could have flashback. You could have a flashback about these things. Like, they bring back Gary. Like that was a big thing. Like, oh, Gary's back.
I don't want to rule it out. They could be because this whole thing they are traveling all over the Pokemon world. Yeah. They're not just in Galar in this one.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
That's what they do in this whole show.
Man.
So they go back.
I'm honestly probably gonna have to tune in on this one now because, like, if you're telling me that they're going everywhere,
Cam, there's different episodes where they'll go back to different regions.
They went back to the gym, like the fighting gym, where, like in the game, where you get either Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan. They went back to that.
Oh, in Kanto?
They also,
man.
They also went back to the Burning Tower, right? Or the Burnt Tower.
The Burnt Tower. Mm-hmm.
From Gold and Silver.
Oh, the Sprout Tower, you mean? Or
they call it something else in the show.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And they talk a little bit about, like, Entei, Suicune, and Raikou.
Yeah, and they, so, I mean, you should check it out, Cam. It's actually pretty good in terms of...
You sold me. It's on Netflix, right?
It's all on Netflix, yeah.
Ooh, boy!
But yeah, so I'm excited that they're doing some of the stuff that we actually talked about and what we wanted from it. I think that's going to be pretty cool for Pokemon Master Journeys coming in September. Some other news. Original Stitch has been doing these Pokemon shirts for the last couple of years, and they are just now finishing up Hoenn. They keep adding designs for each generation, and the ones that are just coming out are for Kyogre and Groudon, and then there'll be one more batch in September with Rayquaza, Latias, and Latios. I've bought some of these shirts. Have you guys ever gotten any of these Original Stitch shirts?
I haven't.
I want to get a Totodile one, but like I don't know. It's just a lot of money.
Yeah, they were expensive.
That's exactly my thing.
They also
I love Hoenn, but
there's no returns. So like mine are a little snug. So like I have to keep losing weight so I can wear these shirts.
You have no option now. You have to.
I have to because I spent money on these shirts.
I'm lucky as I've we were talking about weight gain, weight loss earlier. Even though I've gained a lot of weight, I'm still an extra large. I've always been an extra large, just because it helps with the length of my height.
Yeah, because you're very tall.
Not my size. So so if I were to buy an extra large now, I wouldn't be worried about it because I know that I'm gonna stay it as I lose weight. So I totally understand where you're coming from.
But yeah, so I thought I would shout out that as a little bit of because normally we just end up talking about the games, but there's lots of facets of Pokemon fandom. So if you were looking for some Pokemon merch, Original Stitch has some new stuff. And lastly, Dustin, you added this. Do you want to say this one?
Yeah, it's just basically there's the new set coming out, Celebration. So basically, I took this just directly from the Pokemon website, and it celebrates some of Pokemon's greatest moments over the past 25 years of adventure, discovery, and friendship. The Celebrations expansions offers plenty to be excited about, including an opportunity to stroll down memory lane with classic Pokemon TCG cards. Add a joyous parade of legendary, mythical, and other beloved Pokemon to your collection, including Mew, Ho-Oh, Zamazenta, Flying Pikachu, and Surfing Pikachu. Join the party in the Pokemon TCG Celebrations expansion. We talked about this earlier this year too in our predictions about how
that's
I
something
wanted
we thought
them
we would have.
Yeah, how I wanted them to release some of the old cards. And I know they've done it in the Evolution set, but this is really cool that they're going to re-release some of them because even the Evolutions packs are hard to get right now.
Because even though it feels like this year has been crawling by in some aspects, it is still the 25th anniversary of Pokemon. Yeah. So it's really cool that we're getting some callback stuff even within the TCG to celebrate the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this set. I think it comes out in October. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what it's supposed to come out as in October. I don't know when pre-orders are going up. I know that pre-orders just recently went up for Evolving Skies. But...
Yep. Well, so that's it for our news segment. So now we want to take a brief second. I'm going to go back up to the top of our notes here and do what we usually do with our guests, and that's to get to know them a little bit. First, Cam Hawkins. Tell us about yourself a little bit and what you have going on. Where can people find you? Where might they know you from? All that.
Yeah, sure. I am a writer slash host slash streamer. I've been on IGN. I did like E3 coverage for Xbox and Square Enix. I've been on Kind of Funny Games Daily. I've been on GameSpot and Spawn on Me.
He's a gaming mercenary.
Yeah, basically. And I'm just a dude who loves video games. Yeah, and then I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/CamFinalMix.
And that's a Kingdom Hearts reference, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Cam, what's your favorite game of all time?
Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix.
Yep.
And I thought I would mention that because I also recall Dustin being a pretty big Kingdom Hearts fan as well.
Oh.
Despite those games making no sense whatsoever. But we'll move on.
That's not true. That's not true.
Sorry, I just had to push that button. Okay, so what are some of your favorite Pokemon memories?
Oh man, well, we were saying that my favorite game ever is Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. My second favorite game ever is Pokemon Crystal. That is the reason I play video games. That is the game that showed me what video games could be at a young age. I think it's the way that it tells its story and sense of adventure, and the specifically your rivalry with Silver and his character development throughout the game was something that as a very young kid, 6 or 7 years old, was able to understand the depth of how he grew as a character throughout. I found very compelling at a very young age, and I think that speaks volumes as to how well that game was made from a narrative standpoint. I think the music in that game is phenomenal. I still think Johto is the most well designed from not just when it comes to your the adventure and what you do throughout the game, but also from an architecture standpoint. I think it's very memorable in that sense.
Also, it's laid out really well.
Yeah, which I don't think that a lot of people really think about when it comes to the regions is the architecture. I feel the past 3 generations, Kalos is France and Alola is Hawaii and Galar is the UK, but that's kind of I don't know, but with Johto being kind of this rural, this feudal Japan type inspiration, I think it still just really sticks with me to this day. Yeah, I just think it's that's an incredible video game. Obviously I played Pokemon Red and Blue as well before that, and I enjoyed that a lot, but Pokemon Crystal, Johto, was just on a whole nother level. It was kind of I'm sure people could understand this comparison. I don't know firsthand, but it's kind of you play The Legend of Zelda and then you play A Link to the Past. It's the first game had laid the groundwork, but then the sequel just absolutely masterpieced everything of the original. You know what I mean? As a sequel,
yeah, leveled it up across the board.
Yeah. So,
I think one thing that the Johto generation did, I was gonna say so well, is when you beat the game, there's literally, you go back and have to go through the entire Kanto too, and it's like, it was so cool, and I can't believe they haven't done that again.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
that it
and
was
it
so
just-
cool, but it made it so that every generation since then, I've been disappointed that we
Because
don't
of
get
it,
to go
yeah.
back.
It's like they
Yeah, and I
peaked
think-
on that early, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, and I think
again.
a part of that is just the flexibility of like, oh, we didn't create any regions, so let's make this new region right next to Kanto.
Yeah.
You know, and I still like, even though you don't go back to like, you know, other regions and other games, I still very much love Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Like I play, honestly, even though I love Pokemon Crystal, I think just based off of like how old I was when the respective games came out and things like that, I think I played Pokemon Ruby more than I played Pokemon Crystal. But it's not my favorite still, but like I think that just based off like where I like, you know, my age, and like I think it was like, you know, I had a Game Boy Color, but then the Game Boy Advance came out and that had such a long tenure
Yeah.
that like I was always playing Pokemon Ruby. That's, you know, I think I put in like probably 1,000 hours into that
Yeah,
game.
Man.
I've beaten Sapphire, Ruby twice because I lost a copy and then I found it again, and then Emerald, and I probably put at least 1,000 hours,
Well,
if
and
not
that's-
more.
And we
between
know that that's
all
your
of those.
favorite generation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I absolutely love that generation.
And I think Hoenn is like easily number 2 in my opinion, like when it comes to generations. But I do want to. I also want to say that like I still to this day am so upset. Like it's a memory that I have locked in as a child. I remember because Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire came out near my birthday, right? Maybe it was even on my birthday. And I think that, and I went to Target because I was just like, I want the new Pokemon game. Like I told my mom, I was like, that's what I want. And she's like, okay, we'll get you a new Pokemon game. And I was so dead set on getting Sapphire. I was like, I want Sapphire. I get there and they only have Ruby left. And I was like, well, I gotta get it. Like I gotta get the new Pokemon. So I got Ruby, and I still have like the box. I still have the cartridge. And I'm just like, same thing with Crystal. And I'm just like, I still like, it still irks me to this day, even though like I don't know. So Ruby holds a special place in my heart because of that story, but also I'm like, man, I really wish I had Sapphire. So when it came to the remakes, despite I personally was not a big fan of the Hoenn remakes, I thought it was but I was like, I'm getting Alpha Sapphire. You're not gonna do this to me again.
See, and I loved Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, not because I loved the world as they had redone it so much, but because literally every Pokemon was obtainable in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. You could get everything that you had ever missed before, except for like the ones that they only gave away via digital giveaways. You could get them in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. So that was when I finally was able to complete my living decks, was through that one.
That's
so
cool. That
one holds a special place for me. But like I agree, as much as Dustin loves Hoenn, I mean the too much water thing there's some truth to that. There's a lot of water.
There's waterfall, surf, and dive all in that game.
Yeah, I personally like never really bothered me. I like that kind of new sense of exploration because you really never like, I don't know, like in the originals, like you never really had a game like that where you just traveled the water, you know, and just explore and see where it would take you. Because I remember like going to like the new islands and stuff like that. I was just like, oh, I've reached a new city. Like, you know, like
there was
that's
fun
something
excitement
that
discovering those things.
Yeah, and I feel like you just don't really experience those. You don't experience that the same way nowadays. And I think like a big part of that is because the original games were in 2D, you know, and when they shifted to 3D, it kind of lost that magic. When it came to the exploration, I'm just saying that like, listen, like regardless of how you feel about Johto or Hoenn, like you look at what Heart Gold and Soul Silver did for like the previous games, and that like you could argue that's the best remake to a video game. Like, you know what I mean? And then you get to Alpha Ruby and or like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and I was just like, and again, I was super excited. I love Hoenn like almost as much as I love Johto, and I was just like, oof, that was not what I. That's not what I wanted.
It didn't rekindle that magic for you.
No, it did not.
And then my my copy of Omega Ruby was broken. So when I went to catch Rayquaza, every time I'd go to catch the Pokemon and like I'd have it, after that it would just go to a black screen and do nothing.
Oh no!
And I could never get it to work. And then eventually the game just stopped reading, so I ended up buying Alpha Sapphire and replayed through the entire game again.
No.
I love that game, so I was like, I'll replay it.
He's like, okay, I'll replay it.
So when I was a kid, so as growing up, as like I have a lot of stuff now, but that's because like I just spent the money on it.
You're an adult and you spend your money how you want.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, but growing up, I'm like, okay, I got to trade in games to get new games because my parents aren't going to buy games for me unless it's my birthday or if it's Christmas. So I'm just like, got to do what I got to do. The only 2 games I ever kept were Crystal and Ruby because those were super special to me. Because like Ruby, again, like as I said, like Ruby's like in my top 15 favorite games. Like if there's no
limits on how many per franchise.
Yeah, no asterisks on like, oh, you can only have this many games per franchise. It's in my top 15, and Crystal's number 2.
Yeah, there'd be like 5 Pokemon games in my top 20.
So recently I rebought like all of the Pokemon games, like on physically, obviously. So the only one I don't have at this point is the OG Black and White. So that's the only one I'm missing. But because you can still get like all of the 3DS games for like MSRP, you know what I mean?
For reasonable price.
Yeah, so I got Alpha Sapphire, I got Ultra Moon. Here's the thing, you don't need both Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. They're literally like
the first half I think of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is like literally the exact same.
Yeah, so
and then they don't add stuff till later.
Yeah, so it's just okay. I got Ultra Moon. I did play the original Moon. That's like when I played it, but I haven't played Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon yet. I got Y. I originally got X, but I decided to get Y this time. And I got Black 2. I got Black 2, and I got Pokemon Platinum. So the only one I'm looking for... Well, I actually need Heart Gold Soul Silver now. That I have the box and everything that comes with Heart Gold Soul Silver except for the game. So
I did basically the exact same thing as you. I had sold a bunch of games as well, and I had to, over the past I want to say I didn't finish till 2019, but I was rebuying all of the games. I'll never sell my Game Boy Advance games ever. I still had all those, but I had to go rebuy all the DS and 3DS games. So I also had to go rebuy. I bought Platinum as well. I got Black, either Black or White. I can't remember. I did get Black and White too. One of them. I think I did X because I did Y originally, and then I never got rid of Sun and Moon or
Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
Ultras, but I've also never played through the Ultra games either, so I need to do that as well.
I was one of those spoiled kids who manipulated their mother into getting every game, and so I never had to sell mine. So I don't have any of those special attachments like you guys do because I was spoiled.
Must be nice.
Must be frickin' nice. No, but so we're talking about Pokemon 3, the movie. And normally we ask our guests, what's your favorite Pokemon film? There's a reason we brought you on, Cam, for this particular movie. Is this your favorite Pokemon film?
100%. Is it objectively the best Pokemon film?
Maybe not.
No. It's not. I would fight that it's number 2 though. I would fight it's number 2, but I think Pokemon 2000 is the
structurally a better movie.
Yes, the definitive best Pokemon
it's just
film.
So good.
We're going to get to discuss that because we are going to rank this movie later. So last 2 questions in our getting to know you thing. Favorite Pokemon type and then your favorite Pokemon period.
So my favorite Pokemon type is water.
Good man.
Sure. And my favorite Pokemon is Entei.
Oh. So yeah, no surprise why you like this movie so much.
But I also want to shout out. I just want to just start this conversation with saying that there are some things I forgot about this movie when I watched it. But this movie was made for me. I feel like it was made for me because I know some of these things I'm just like, no, I already liked this and that before watching this movie. So I know I just forgot it was in the movie now, being 20 years older.
Right.
And now I'm just like, wow, this movie was meant for me. I love it so much because the thing is that like after Entei, my next favorite two Pokemon are Kingdra and Totodile, and they're both in this movie. I was just like, Kingdra? Like that's such a that's a hard pull. That's a hard pull, you know what I mean? And they're like, Kingdra's in this movie.
And they use Totodile. They make Totodile's adorable in this movie.
Totodile is great. I've always been like a fire Pokemon person for the most part, but there's a few generations where there's like the water Pokemon just definitely rival the fire for me, and like and Totodile is definitely one of those where
I just love that Totodile talks like Donald Duck.
Yeah, and I'm still gonna fight that I'm not gonna say that Chikorita is like Chikorita is still a great all three of the Johto starters are great.
Are good.
You know what I mean? Like, is Chikorita the weakest of the three? Yes, but Chikorita is still pretty fucking great.
Yep.
So I don't want to hear any Chikorita slander.
No, I honestly like Chikorita, and I like Meganium. I like that whole line.
I know. Like, I don't know, because there's so many people talk about it now. It's just like, oh, but statistically, I'm like, I don't care about statistics. Yeah. I care about their design and their name, and that's cool. Cyndaquil is cool. Chikorita is cool. Totodile is cool.
Really was a good generation.
I don't know if this is gonna be a hot take, but like, I would definitely choose as a collective the Johto starters over the Kanto starters.
That's a bit of a hot take.
What I was gonna say in that vein is that I think the first three generations, all three of the starters are good. Like, I legitimately don't think anybody's making a bad decision if they choose any one of the starters in the first three generations.
I agree.
I've played through like every one of them with every starter, and it's just like,
I agree. I will say that though, I'm not a big fan of like the final evolution. I like them on their base forms. Like, I think they're all great. But as the evolutions come along, like, not a big fan of Venusaur, not a big fan of Swampert. But
I love Swampert. I'm a big fan. Before we get into the plot real fast, Jeff, I do need to use the restroom. I'll let you guys continue this. I will be right back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is something new. I will be right back.
Okay. Well, so I was about to go into the facts and trivia, so I guess we'll do that, because we don't need him here to talk facts and trivia about Pokemon 3 the movie. It was released April 6th, 2001 in the United States. I don't have the release date for when it came out in Japan, but it was prior to its release in the United States. It was directed by Kunihiko Yuyama. Budget of $16 million, which by most movie standards is not that crazy. That's not a huge budget. But compared to its gross, it only earned a gross of $17 million in the U.S. and Canada, $8 million of which was on the opening weekend, and the worldwide gross was $68 million. So it's not big earnings, especially when you take into account that when they talk about these budgets, that doesn't include marketing costs. So they probably did not make money on Pokemon 3 the movie by releasing it in theaters, which leads us to one of the first fun facts about it. This was the last animated Pokemon film to receive a wide theatrical release in the United States. All subsequent animated Pokemon films would receive a limited theatrical release or go direct to video or just be on television. And, which is a shame because, I do enjoy these Pokemon movies, and I think there is still a market for these Pokemon movies in theaters, as shown by the success of those limited releases. Like, I'm sure you guys all saw the video of Pokemon I Choose You. Someone had shot a clip from the inside the theater when Pikachu speaks, and the reaction of everyone in the audience. Have you guys seen that clip?
Yeah, that's cringe.
They're like, no!
Talking about this being in theaters as well too, I have a sad story of showing up to the theater like 20 minutes late or into the movie, and so we ended up not getting to go. And I had my mom run, we had the nearest movie theater was like 40 minutes away too from where I grew up, so we had to drive there, and we couldn't even watch the movie because we were late, and I was so mad.
So you didn't get your Entei card?
Nope. Did not get my Entei card.
I'm positive I had one at some point. Don't know where that is now.
I went to a card shop recently and they had one, and I almost bought it. I may get it if they still have it.
They did a penalty kick and he sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Just as a reminder, in case you just started watching live here recently, we are broadcasting here during the Euro finals in soccer, and England and Italy are in penalty kicks now, so it's very, very tense.
Yep.
And
Yep.
apparently Cam has adopted a team in this game.
I was born in England.
Yeah.
I was born in England,
Okay,
homie.
well that's fair. That's fair. Then adoption is not accurate. This is his birthright.
He was born into it.
It's coming home, Cam. Well, so yeah, this was the last one that had a wide theatrical release. Another fun fact: Sean Connery turned down the role of Professor Hale for the English dub.
That is a fun fact.
I don't blame him, but like, can you picture this movie with Sean Connery voicing a character? I feel like I would be distracted by that. I'd be like, was that Sean Connery? I'd be asking everyone to think, was that Sean Connery?
Looking over to your like 13-year-old
Yeah,
friends.
exactly. They're like, Jeff, we don't know who Sean Connery is.
Yeah, they're like, what are you talking about?
That's James Bond. And another fun fact, the first draft of this movie, written by Takeshi Shudo, had a completely different plot that dealt with the discovery of a dinosaur fossil, which would be brought to life and then would go on a rampage through Kanto. It was rejected by the producers for being too risky, is what the IMDb trivia says there. I'd like to know what risk they thought that was.
As someone who loves dinosaurs, I would have been really into this being a movie in general, even if it didn't replace this movie.
Yeah, maybe not replace this, but like give us a separate one with a dinosaur rampage in the Pokemon universe.
Yeah, I would love that. As much as I like this movie, I would have loved that.
Okay, so we're gonna dive into the short. Because we do this, we talk about the animated short that also played along the movie, and then we'll go into the actual movie. I
actually do want. There is actually a fun fact that I wanted to mention in this movie,
Yeah,
which also makes it more a movie made for me. So, because because even though I loved watching the Pokemon anime growing up, I was more into Yu-Gi-Oh! And the voice of Entei in Pokemon the third movie is Yugi Moto himself.
Oh my goodness.
Dan Green.
I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
Really?
if you think about the Pharaoh's voice,
I could.
So
if you
it's
think
Yami?
about the Pharaoh's voice, it's Entei. It's fucking
Wow.
Entei.
Huh.
Boy, they
I
really
never
did.
noticed that.
Can I swear on this podcast? I should have been asked before.
It's something we should have discussed earlier. But yeah, it's fine. We're
Oh,
we're
okay.
not worried about it now. We used to be more worried about it, but you know what?
We're 19 episodes into
We're
this
19
point.
episodes in.
There's been slips.
Oh, well,
We're
I'll
totally fine with
Okay,
it.
well, I'll try and refrain from it for the rest of the podcast.
The only reason we have any concern about it is because we're talking about Pokemon. There are going to be kids who do look up Pokemon stuff on YouTube, and if there's a chance they're watching it, obviously
Again,
we don't
it's
have a problem
totally
with
fine.
it.
It's
You do you,
passion,
Cam.
kids. Kids, if you're listening, it's out of passion. It's out of passion.
Yeah.
Cam's not angry. He's not angry, kids. It's just he's very excited.
Yeah. It's joy.
So the short for this movie was called Pikachu and Pichu. Did you guys remember this at all before we rewatched it for this?
Remembered it. It is definitely the one I saw the least of them. And
That's
honestly,
funny.
I'm gonna say it's probably the best one so far.
Oh, that's a take.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's like I've seen the first movie plenty of times. I've seen the 2000 plenty of times. Like obviously I've seen a few others. I feel like this is like the holy trinity, but like I've seen others. And this I don't remember even what the first two shorts are, but this one I know vividly.
Well,
and granted,
I'll tell you, they're a little
one
similar.
I watched this one a lot as a kid, but like I still watch the other ones just as much. I probably watched 2000 more than I watched Pokemon the Third growing up, but like I don't know what the shorts are in the first two movies. So I would definitely say that this is the best one.
Basically, the first two just involve Togepi getting lost at some point, and that's essentially it for the first two.
So for this one, we cut out the middleman of Togepi getting lost and just got Pikachu lost directly. That's the idea behind this one. So I'm just gonna breeze through the
Also,
plot
before we even get into it, if you have Houndour in a short for me, you're already getting points because Houndour's awesome.
So if there's something you want to chime in on, and I don't notice you put your finger up right away, just say, "Hey Jeff." and then we'll talk about it because I'm gonna kind of just go through the plot. The short begins with Pikachu riding an elevator with the gang, and he sees some Pichu through the window of the elevator. They get off the elevator, and Ash, Misty, and Brock release all their Pokemon as they do at every single one of these shorts. And they tell them just to hang out on this roof.
And they abandon them, like every single one of them. They leave their Pokemon and abandon them.
Every single short. And then this time they said, try not to get into trouble. And so, of course, what is going to happen? They're going to get into trouble. I mean, that's inevitable. So there's these two Pichu goofing off on the edge of a girder. And Pikachu is like, what's going on with these Pichus? So he runs over and climbs up a flagpole where he gets attacked by Murkrows. And the narrator tells us, whoa, this is the Murkrows territory. You got to watch out here, Pikachu.
At least we don't get the weird transitions that we get in the other ones.
From the other ones, there's a bizarre charm to the weird transitions from the
first one was definitely the most egregious, though.
Yeah, it was like every 2 minutes there was another transition. But yeah, so Pikachu's up on this flagpole and he's getting attacked by Murkrows, and he falls but catches himself on a rope. And then one of the Murkrows is like, I'm finishing this. I'm going to finish the job. And he starts pecking at the rope. He's going to murder Pikachu.
Yeah, this is, it's a little dark.
Yeah. They're just living up to their names.
I guess so.
Murder Crow. But yeah, so then while this is happening, Meowth makes his obligatory appearance in the short as a window cleaner. And then some Hoppip float by, and they interrupt the Murkrow before he can finally off our hero. But Pikachu falls and lands on Meowth's window cleaning platform and launches Meowth into another building. So, not sure that Meowth was absolutely necessary for any of this, but sure. Glad he got his moment to shine.
Kind of Meowth in every single one of these so far.
I mean,
Meowth just kind of shows up and gets launched away. That's basically it.
The Pichu come over and they want to see how Pikachu's doing after his fall, and so Pikachu, PPP, whatever.
They were bullying him at first, right? When he sees them, like they were like making faces at him.
I think they were like taunting him a little bit.
Yeah.
But so then Pikachu, they decide they're going to help Pikachu get back to the rest of the Pokemon because Pikachu's like, yo, these guys are over here, and I got to get back over there. How do we do that? And the Pichu are like, follow us, we'll show you. So they hop a ride on the elevator and descend lower into the building, and then they climb into the air ducts and shoot through those John McClane style, and then come out on the other side. Now they're on a truck, and this is where there's no plot to this this short. It is just a series of them moving from one location to another. One location to another. They get flung off the truck into a river where they're going to get run over by a boat, but then a Gyarados launches them out of the way of the boat. And then they land from the Gyarados. They land on top of Houndour, and now Dustin's all hyped because Houndour's in there. Very cool.
Houndour's so cool.
Houndour's pretty cool.
But then Houndour gets all pissed off because they landed on top of him, so he chases them. So the Pichu's
understandably.
I mean, yeah, I get it. A bunch of people fall out of the sky, land on me. I'm going to have questions,
Yeah.
But the Pichus decide it's time to electrocute him, and of course, being Pichus, that does damage to them, and they knock themselves out. Which seems like you got to think that Pichus would have died out a long time ago, right? Because every time they defend themselves, they hurt themselves. Like this is evolution at work here. They should that branch of the evolutionary tree should be trimmed. Pichus are destined to kill themselves.
But they're cute.
But they are adorable,
really
so
cute.
they get a pass. But so then they escape from the Houndour, and they lead him on a merry chase, and they do the obligatory thing that they do in every one of these shorts. They jump from up high and land on top of a sleeping Snorlax that has appeared in 3 out of 3 shorts so far.
Yep.
Very convenient that there's always a Snorlax around.
Snorlax is a great Pokemon, so it makes sense.
But then the Houndour jumps down, and Snorlax squishes it, and so they get away for a little while. And then we get to the obligatory dance number of the short. All these shorts have to have a little dance number.
If we've learned anything from Pokemon, Snorlax weighs over 1,000 pounds. Houndour would be dead.
Houndour's definitely dead.
Houndour would be dead.
But yeah, so we get this lovely little dance number where they're, meeting hundreds of different Pokemon, and the music is playing.
that alley trope where it's like, oh, look at all these strays, and now we're having a good time.
It reminds me of like Oliver and Company.
Yes,
a little
100%.
yes.
And it's made even better by the delightful, like, New Orleans style jazz music that they're playing.
Yeah. That's why I like this short. I like this whole little section. It's part
the music
of the reason
was
why I
good.
like this one. Yeah, really good.
But so they're all hanging out in the clubhouse, which is made of tires and gears, I guess.
Obviously, Jeff.
Obviously. But then the clock tower rings, and that means that the time for dancing has passed. And so all the other Pokemon stop dancing, and they're like, okay, see you tomorrow, gang. That was the work whistle. We'll come back later.
Dance number time is over. We have no more time for dancing.
We heard the bell. So they wander off, and leaving the Pikachu and the Pichus together to be discovered again by who else but Houndour. And he is still pretty ticked off.
The ghost of Houndour.
The ghost of Houndour. Who's reasonably upset because the actions of Pichu have left him smushed in an alley. So, but so Houndour shows up and he starts fighting them again, and he's gonna, he takes out the clubhouse accidentally. Maybe building your clubhouse out of used tires and gears is not a structurally sound way to build a clubhouse. But whatever, they're Pokemon.
No opposable thumbs.
Yeah, so
they got to work with what they got.
They, Grumpy Houndour starts, accidentally destroys everything, and then the Pichu are like, Pichu, and then everybody comes out to help again. They're like, oh yeah, we weren't too far away because the anti-dance bell just rang, so we're still close by. So they come running back to help fix, save the clubhouse. Where are they getting these tires? They keep throwing these tires onto.
You also think they would just be mad at them for destroying their clubhouse?
Yeah, we left you alone for 2 minutes. You destroyed the freaking clubhouse.
Yeah,
you guys aren't even from here. You just showed up at our clubhouse and destroyed it.
Destroyed our home. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for that, gang. But yeah, so they keep stealing tires. I'm assuming from an auto shop nearby, and piling them up to try to rebalance their clubhouse. Houndour is trying to help now because he feels bad. He didn't mean to destroy their home. But they've almost got it. But oh no, the rope that they're using to hold up the clubhouse breaks. So the whole thing is going to collapse. But then Houndour tries harder.
It's an anime trope. I mean,
he skates better, just like in Brink.
Exactly.
But yeah, so then Houndour is able to hold up the clubhouse long enough for them to add some more tires and to allow Magby to do some welding, which frankly is a better idea than tires. They should definitely work in more welding for structural support in their clubhouse. But then, holy crap, Pikachu's going to be super late, and Ash isn't going to love him anymore. So they have to get him back real quick. So they run back across town. And Pikachu says goodbye to the Pichu. Or sorry, they don't run across town. They hop in one of the tires and roll across town, being sure to run over Meowth one more time for good measure.
Of course.
And they get
because
back.
Again, Meowth is in this.
Yeah, Meowth. Yeah, Meowth's in there.
There must be like a contractual thing with the voice actor for Meowth that they just they have to keep putting him in.
He's a Pokemon. You know what I mean? Like,
and it gives them a chance to work in some dialogue. Or I guess monologue more accurately in the movie or in the shorts. But they get Pikachu back in time. They say adios, and Pikachu gets out, and the rest of the Pokemon are standing exactly where they were when Pikachu left. No one moved an inch.
They don't know what to do without their leader.
Like if it was like the previous shorts, Togepi gets lost. They all freak out. They all go looking for him. Pikachu gets lost, and they're like, he'll be back.
But Togepi's a baby. Togepi's a baby.
That's true, and it is hard to tell just how old Pikachu is. So, I mean, he could be older than Ash for all we know.
Ash is at least 35, so
this is true. But go ahead, Cam.
Oh, I love how like all these shorts, you just don't see like any of the trainers' faces. Like, why? We know what they look like.
It's very much like a kid's cartoon where they're like trying to avoid the parents' faces. It's like, why are you doing this? We've seen these trainers in hundreds of episodes.
That trope in cartoons was designed to make like in Charlie Brown, you never see any of the adults.
Or you can't hear what they're saying either.
Because you're not supposed to. You're supposed to relate to the kids, and so by making it so like you don't understand the adults, you don't see the adults. It makes it all about the kids. So in this one, they're trying to make the kids relate to the Pokemon rather than to Ash. That's my guess as to why they do that. But like you're right. We know what they look like. We know what they sound like. It's not like Ash said something from off screen and I was like, wait, who was that guy? I was like, no, that's that was Ash. But yeah, Pikachu makes it back in time, and it's a good thing because Ash has been planning this huge buffet for all the Pokemon to eat to celebrate the anniversary of the day that Ash met Pikachu, which is very touching, very sweet moment. Feels like the kind of thing that should have been the primary focus of the short to me.
Yeah.
It's a nice surprise.
Yeah, but it was a nice surprise. And that's it. That's Pikachu and Pichu. So, what do you guys think of Pikachu and Pichu in relation to the other shorts? I know we already said, Cam, you think this is the best one because you don't even remember the other ones. What about you, Dustin?
I agree. I think this is the best one. I think it's mainly because you said there's no plot, but like the plot really is Pikachu gets lost and he's trying to get back. It's kind of what it is. So it's like a little bit of like a Baby's Day Out. Is that the movie I'm thinking of? Where like the baby's trying to make it back? It's an older movie, but maybe like one person will get that reference.
I was thinking Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey.
Yeah. Or like he's just trying to get back, and I just like the city feel of it, and I thought it was cool that it wasn't the same thing of like Togepi getting lost again, because that's literally what the first two are. Like the plot of the first one is literally Togepi gets lost, and then they also have like a beef with this other group of Pokemon. And then the next one is Togepi gets lost, and they're in a tree, and they have to stop a forest fire, or like a wind, right? They like have to stop a fire, and then there's wind.
A big storm, and it's going to blow away all the executes.
Yeah, I think this one was a little bit more. It was a little bit more straightforward.
It was definitely more straightforward, and it's lighthearted, and ultimately, I think it also does have the best music.
And it had a little bit of the like Tom and Jerry type of antics with like the Houndour of like them trying to like run away from him.
100%. This was a Pokemon Tom and Jerry episode.
Yeah. So that's why I like this one the most. I think the other two are pretty forgettable. And I think that's, again, probably why Cam doesn't really necessarily remember those ones very much, is because they're kind of forgettable. Once I rewatched them, I remembered things from them. But before that, I honestly didn't really remember anything from them. Except for the only one I remember is that they introduced Meryl in the first one because we all thought it was Peekaboo. And that's it. That's like literally.
So that's it for the shorts. Now we're going to dive into our main topic. And we're finally here. We are discussing Pokemon 3 the movie, which Entei, Spell of the Unknown. That is I believe is the full title. So
I think that is it.
It's a very long title. Okay, so the movie opens up on Molly's father reading to her about some legendary Pokemon, like Unown, which her father is looking for, and Entei, who is Molly's favorite, and to play with his daughter, he pretends to be Entei, and they play around. Obviously, a really touching thing. I think they're doing a good job here setting up what is essentially the crux of the movie, is that Molly loves her dad, and her dad will do anything for her, that sort of deal. But while they're playing, he receives an email from a work associate telling him they have found a secret chamber with some clues about the Unown. So he just up and leaves Molly in the middle of the night to go search for Unown.
Hang around.
Say again?
He'll do anything for his daughter except hang around.
Oh, sorry, honey. There's some random Pokemon scribbles. I gotta go look at these. This can't possibly wait until morning.
Seriously.
Let's see. He receives the email and he gets up and goes. And we jump straight to the desert ruins where they're investigating the markings that appear to be talking about the Unown. And I think it's funny that they're like, oh, could these be markings of the Unown? And they show the markings and it's literally just the Unown, like all the letters of the Unown alphabet. I was like,
yeah,
oh, it's really not much of a mystery here. Yeah, these are definitely the Unown. Let's see, where were we? Then some unknown show up when Molly's dad picks up some unknown tiles, and they teleport him into the unknown realm, where they all appear to be mocking him, which seemed kind of mean-spirited.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy. Like this movie's got a little like bit of a creepy vibe to it, especially in the beginning.
I think this very easily could be this exact story could be retold as a much scarier movie.
As like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could very easily do that. But yeah, so we cut back to Molly, who's running down the stairs because she thinks her dad's back, only to be informed by her butler that her dad was sent to the Shadow Realm for activating Unknown's trap card.
Yep, and I was just thinking how ironic it is that it's the voice of Yami that plays the voice or is the voice actor, and then he gets banished to the Shadow Realm in this movie.
I think that's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
But so she goes to investigate the box of unknown tiles herself, and she immediately identifies them as just being regular old letters. Why?
She's smarter.
She's way smarter than the
She's a prodigy.
Which said they look like letters. Like, I mean, they do.
Yeah, but like they're in the ruins. Dad's like, oh, look at this. What do these say? What does it mean? It's like, they're letters, dude. They look like letters. Read them.
You know what these are.
But yeah, so she activates the tiles as well, and all the unknown fly through a portal in the desert and then over to her home, and interrupting what was sure to be Molly making a Batman-style oath to destroy all the unknown for what they did to her family. But instead, she asks them to play with her. So, of course, they turn her home into a nightmare realm and banish everyone from the house.
Yeah, it's so creepy. Like, this movie literally could just be a horror film. Like, there's so many things that happen in it where I'm like, man, this is like creepy stuff going on. Unknown is creepy. Unknown is a creepy Pokemon.
And I definitely would not have pegged that from, like the games. Like, they're mysterious.
Really? I always got, I guess mysterious, but like, definitely got like a weird.
They like weirdly chant. They like weirdly chant, and there's like some weird music that goes on. It's straight up like a horror movie.
And like, not like a monster movie, but like, possessions and, like The Exorcist.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Molly, while she's playing with the unknown, wishes that her father would come back, and she makes this wish while looking at a picture of Entei in the book, and she's remembering when he was pretending to be Entei. So then Entei materializes inside the house. So of course Molly assumes it's her father.
If I had one complaint about this movie, really, it's that it's not a real Entei. So, like, the moves it uses, like, it doesn't use, like, Fire Blast or any fire moves or anything like that, like, later on in the movie. I don't know, rewatching it, I was like, man, I kind of forgot about the fact that it's just a materialized Entei.
Another pro as to why this movie was made for me, though. His blast is purple, my favorite color. I'm just saying, it's like, it just keeps adding up.
Were you in the room when it was being written, Cam?
I don't know. Oh, also, mentioning the Dan Green stuff, being, Yu-Gi-Oh! Brock and James, voiced by Eric Stewart, the voice of Kaiba. I'm just saying, man.
Was Yu-Gi-Oh! Also a 4Kids entertainment?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that makes sense. They're stable.
And it was
voice actors.
It was around 2000 or 2001, right, when it was starting like its popularity on Fox Kids or whatever it was.
But yeah,
it's crazy because like when I don't know, like because when you think about Brock's voice, you're like, okay, I can definitely hear Kaiba in there. But then James is like a whole, completely like he's different. Very flamboyant, right? So it's completely different.
But so like Entei has materialized, and this little girl's like, "Hey, daddy," and Entei is like, just likes hugs, I guess. So he's like, "Okay, I'll be your daddy." And meanwhile, the rest of the unknown are surrounding the entire home in crystal flowers, and then boom, title sequence. Spell of the Unknown, which, again, makes the full title of this movie, Pokemon 3, the movie, Spell of the Unknown, Entei. I knew I had it written somewhere.
That's the full title?
That's the full title of the movie.
A lot going on in that.
What the
there's got to be there was some debating when the translating was happening, like, should we include all of this? It probably makes more sense in Japanese.
Did Pokemon the movie 2000? It had a subtitle too, right? It was
Yeah,
like
the Power of One.
The
The
Power of One, yeah.
That's right. Okay.
But see,
I'm just
people
saying-
know that. People
I'm just
know
saying-
that.
I'm just saying Pokemon Forever and Pokemon Heroes got it right because they literally those are just the names.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and I was like Cam. I always called it Pokemon the third movie.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like that's what most people call it, and yet
I
I'm
feel
pretty
like
sure,
I
like,
did the same.
I'm pretty sure on the VHS box art, because I have it. It says Pokemon the third movie.
see, and I know it has to be something like that because we all got it from somewhere.
On the poster, at least for the IMDb, it just says Pokemon 3, the movie, but I don't know what the box art would actually say. Or what
But yeah,
the box art actually said.
so
I'm Googling it right now. Oh, okay, it is Pokemon 3, the movie on the
box.
art. Yeah. Spell of the Unknown is on the bottom as well. But I never actually noticed that until now. So
Again, creepy Pokemon.
So finally, we join Ash, Misty, and Brock along with Pikachu and Togepi, and the announcer says they are heading into unknown territory, which is a bit on the nose. But yeah, so we have the obligatory first battle of the movie where Ash has a battle with a nice long version of the Pokemon Johto theme from the TV show playing.
best Pokemon anime opening too. Like, see, come on now, like,
So you like it better than the original as well?
oh yeah, Johto Journeys, like, definitely, I think is the best Pokemon opening. Like, don't get me wrong, the original's iconic, but if you take that nostalgia away and Johto Journeys,
You think it's an objectively better song?
I think so, yeah.
I can understand that argument. It's catchy as all get out. So the song's playing in the background, but unlike the other first battles of the previous two movies, Ash doesn't just completely destroy this opponent. It's actually a really great fight that ends in a narrow victory for Ash after Pikachu headbutts the trainer's Quagsire.
I think we talked about this when we were talking about Pokemon Legends Arceus, about like being out in the open world and having Pokemon fights. In this movie alone, like this opening scene here where they're like fighting on like the playground is what made me want a Pokemon game like that, where like it was just like a little bit more out in the open and like you were controlling the Pokemon, or like you'd play as the trainer but you would select the moves and like actually control the Pokemon. Like,
Yeah, and they move through the environment rather than just standing in an
just standing in one spot. Yeah.
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 They win, and then they do what they always do, which is have a meal after the battle with their vanquished foe. And then they head off to Greenfield so they can go to the nearest Pokemon Center. But oh no! They run to the top of the hill and discover that Greenfield is a crystal wasteland, in the words of Jesse, who we see with the rest of Team Rocket scouting out the place. Again, I think this is cool. Like it's one of those things that they don't actually explain too well what is happening. But because it's the unknown and the whole point is about like no one actually knows what they're capable of, and they have all these mysterious powers, it just kind of works.
I was just gonna say I like the way that in all three of the first three movies they establish like the plot really, and like not necessarily. Well, I guess the unknown are kind of the villain of this movie. But they like set up the villain in the beginning of each of the movies. So in Pokemon, the first movie, they introduced Mewtwo and like the whole thing with Mewtwo and wanting to like become the most powerful. And then the next movie, they introduced the Collector and him getting them. And then in this one, they like introduce him before even showing Ash. I just think it's a cool way to start all of the movies.
I wouldn't even say that the unknown are the villain. They're just like this force that needs to be stopped. You know what I mean?
Which
like
that's why I put in air quotes for the villain, because that's really like there is no villain in this
like
movie.
I would say like it would be like the closest thing like would be like there's a difference between a villain and an antagonist. Like I would say like, and even that is like treading lightly on the word antagonist, but I get what you're saying for sure. It's the threat that they need to stop.
So let's see, where was I? The news shows up and to tell us that this catastrophe is somehow related to the home of Spencer Hale, and they also mention that Professor Hale's wife disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and then they just don't talk about that again.
Again, horror movie.
Turns out Professor Hale was a student of Professor Oak's and a childhood friend of Ash's mom Delia, so of course they are going to go see what's up. They show up and run into Ash and the gang, and Pikachu goes to say hi to Delia, and she is so happy to see Pikachu. And then Ash's mom, Ash says, "Mom?" To which she responds, "Oh, hi, honey."
Yeah. She doesn't give a fuck about what Ash is doing.
Not one bit.
This more supports the whole idea that like Delia doesn't give a fuck what Ash is doing now that he's out of the house. She's like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" You know, like obviously like she'll support him and stuff like that, but she doesn't care what trouble he's getting into. She just does not care.
So, I mean, that's exactly how it is. She's just so nonchalant about it, and it's like the way you say hi to someone when you're having a fight with someone and they don't realize that you're having a fight yet. But then she remembers she is supposed to care about her son, so then she asks how he's doing. Molly sees this interaction on TV because apparently this convo between a random child and his mother is the most important thing the news crew could be focused on at the time. So instead of local officials or scientific experts explaining what this bizarre phenomenon is, they focus on Mom and Ash. And then, Molly's like, "Hey, Papa, can you go get me one of them mom things?" And he's like, "Sure, I can do that."
Also, it's just like, just throughout this movie, what feeds are they watching? Like at the manor? I'm just like, how are you seeing this right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like they're watching the news, I guess. But like, who chose that channel?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way a child is gonna like select to watch the local news.
Why is she watching the news?
The local news, like, you have to be like 65 plus to watch the local news.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
So Entei's like, "Okay, I'll go get you one of those." And he then uses extreme speed and runs into town and turns some more flowers into crystal, and then just straight up kidnaps Ash's mom.
I like that scene so much too, though, where he's like running through, because Entei's so cool, and just like
Entei is very, very cool.
It's just so cool.
But it's also just like, okay, later in the movie, like, getting ahead of things, he's like, "If you're going outside, I can't come with you." But I'm like, bro, you're like outside.
Yeah, you literally just
his
left.
mom. Yeah, you can. Apparently.
It's only when it's convenient.
So, let's see, where was I again?
Entei was just kidding. Delia.
Yeah. And he brainwashes her into thinking she's Molly's mama. And the news crews catch the kidnapping on film. Which to me makes me think like this would be the sort of thing that would show up in later episodes of the show. Like they'd be like, "Oh, I remember you. You were the guy whose mother got kidnapped by Entei on television."
Are you okay? Is your mom okay?
How'd that turn out?
Is she still alive?
Sorry, 1 second.
You're fine. I'll even say, I'll go back to this as well too. I going back to what we were talking about earlier with Delia, like not really caring about Ash. I think it's funny because there was like a point in the last movie where she like made a point to say that he has to come visit after all of his journeys, right? Was that after the second movie? I think.
Yeah, it was after the second one.
They like made it a point for her to be like, "All right, you have to come home after all of your journeys," and that's why after every series he like goes back to Pallet Town or whatever.
Yeah.
So Molly is stoked to have a new mama. And it's clear that this child is completely traumatized and is going to need some serious help after all this.
So much counseling.
More and more Greenfield gets turned into crystals, and then Professor Oak and Professor Hale's assistant are finally able to identify the Pokemon that kidnapped Delia was Entei, and that it is the Unown in the house. And Professor Oak is like, "I was afraid of that." But like, why would he be afraid of that if no one knows what the Unown are capable of? He's like, "Oh, I really thought about they might open a portal and kidnap someone. Professor Oak maybe put that in a book somewhere so that researchers would be aware of this possibility." Whatever. He's not the most helpful professor sometimes. But we cut to Charizard at the Charizard Sanctuary. This was so cool. What a surprise to see Charizard. I was not expecting that the first time I saw this. In fact, that is another fun fact. Charizard's appearance in the movie was a well-kept secret that even the producers of the English version weren't aware of Charizard being in the movie until they had received it from Japan to start doing the dub. So, like, they're like, "Oh my god, Charizard's in this. Freaking awesome. We make so much money off of Charizard."
Yeah.
But Charizard sees what's happening and is like, I am needed, and he takes off to go take care of Ash and his mom. Then we cut to a bulldozer trying to break its way into the Hale Mansion, and Molly commands the Unown to stop that from happening. And then she sends an email to Professor Oak and is like, leave me alone. My mom and furry dog dad just want to chill. Then, again, I don't know how she got Professor Oak's email, but whatever.
Yeah, again, like, this.
She's a very intelligent young lady.
Suspension of disbelief kind of thing here with her getting all of this information. Maybe her dad just had it on his computer.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, that's possible. We did establish he was one of Professor Oak's proteges. But yeah, so Ash and the gang set off to go save Ash's mom, and Lisa, who was the other trainer from earlier, gives them a Poké gear so they can keep in touch with the Pokemon Center. And then they walk down the stream to the mansion, since water appears to be the only thing that doesn't turn to crystal by the Unown. And
That's just science.
That's just science. You can't turn water into crystal, unless it's ice.
Exactly.
But Team Rocket has this fun conversation where they see them walking, and they talk about waiting, and they go back and forth for a little while, trying to decipher the homophones there. Entei then mercilessly attacks them for existing at all, and their balloon crashes into another building. And
I love all their little banter that Team Rocket has in these movies, though. Like, it's always just so funny.
But yeah, but like, again, compared to like Pokemon 2000, like Team Rocket kind of actually has a role in that movie.
Yeah.
While in this one, they're just there the entire time. Like, the only thing that they do that's useful is like help save Ash later in the movie. It's funny. They're funny. But yeah, it's just like, man,
they're there to be the comic relief.
Yeah, exactly. In the first two movies, y'all had like an actual role. In this one, you're just filler, more or less.
Yeah, they really don't have a lot to do in this one. But at least they still get to be used for some comedic stuff like we're talking about here. But yeah, so after Team Rocket gets blasted out of the no-fly zone above Hale Mansion, Ash tries to sneak into the house by climbing up Bulbasaur and Chikorita's vines. And when Ash almost falls, the spell on Delia is broken because she and Molly are watching Ash on TV, and she fears for Ash's safety, and that's enough to break her brainwashing for a little bit. But she's smart. She plays it cool and continues to be pretending like she's under the influence. And then Professor Oak, also having seen Ash on TV, calls him and is like, it was very wrong of you to go in there, but we're going to go ahead and say you should just stay in there and get your mom instead of waiting for the proper authorities to come help. And then also, the Unown can alter reality based on the dreams and thoughts of people nearby. And so they assume these must be Molly's wishes that are being made into reality. And then, where was I again? I always keep getting lost alt-tabbing here.
Well, no, that's fine, because I was going to interject here too, and it's like she has such a traumatic childhood. Like, if all the things that she like has to come up with to like kind of cope, because like not only did her mom just vanished, but now like her dad is just completely disappeared, and I don't know. How old is she? She's like 6. Do we know how old she is?
Yeah, she's real young.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on for this little girl. I feel bad for her.
She's definitely being put through the ringer here.
Yeah.
So Ash discovers that the crystal is self-healing when he uses Cyndaquil's flamethrower to blow a hole in the wall so they can get in. And so then Ash brilliantly uses water gun to keep the crystal from closing up, and then they travel through the water gun like a water slide. And honestly, that was pretty smart. I was kind of impressed.
Cool. That was cool. I always thought that was cool.
They get to have fun while also getting into the castle. They get a little water slide,
and so they all slide through there. And then Totodile in particular was super jazzed about this whole sequence and is leaping about, enthusiastic, making his Donald Duck noises, and cementing himself as the superior starter from this generation. But Ash and the team climb the magic crystal staircase to the next level of the crystal tower and find themselves in a field that Molly has dreamt up. Team Rocket, on the other side, stumble upon the... On the other hand, they stumble upon the unknown, and James makes a hilarious joke. I haven't seen this many strange letters since the last time I placed a personal ad. Which, of course, is a joke that no one from any generation younger than ours is ever going to get.
Yeah.
Because what the hell's a personal ad? But Molly dreams about becoming a Pokemon trainer and how cool that would be. So Entei runs off to battle and makes a dream version of Molly, who is a young adult, and comes to battle them. What do you guys think about this thing here?
It's super cool. I like the way that they like create these different worlds inside of it. It's really cool because it just goes back to like, again, on like surface level, this movie's really creepy and the way they do things, and it does kind of remind me of like a Nightmare on Elm Street type like thing where they're like in this like dreamed up world, and it's just there's different levels too, which also kind of reminds me of Inception, which this obviously came out way before that. But I love all this stuff in here. I think the stuff once they get inside the actual manor is really cool with the way that they alter, especially when like they get to the water part in the next thing. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like it. I don't like how Brock is hitting on a 5-year-old girl as a probably like 18-year-old girl,
Version,
and I'm just like, that's still, that is still a child.
Well, and then I also like question like Entei does this so that she can be a trainer, but he leaves Molly, like the actual Molly, upstairs, and this is like a dream Molly. So does dream Molly's memories, like, is child Molly gonna get to like have does she experience things that the adult dream Molly is doing? And I'm probably overthinking it, as I always do.
It's probably still just a dream to her.
Yeah,
That's what I think too.
But it's like a
very
it's
lucid.
Yeah, it's a very lucid dream. Like it feels real, but it's still a dream.
But yeah, so Molly materializes a crystal Pokeball and decides to use a Flaffy, which gets confused by Brock's Zubat, but then electrocutes him. And then Molly embraces Flaffy for the victory in a big hug, and then dematerializes it.
Your job here is done.
Yeah, it's all crystal.
And then creates a Teddy Ursa instead, which also
Teddy Ursa's
wins.
so cute. I'm
It
pretty
was
sure that's
adorable.
like the first time that we've seen Teddy Ursa in Pokemon, like in the anime.
It probably
and
was.
Very, very cute.
And it was way stronger than Teddy Ursa should probably have been.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
like Brock makes comment that like, oh, these dream Pokemon are stronger than normal Pokemon.
And so then he's like, it's time to bring out the big guns. And he brings out Onyx, which gets absolutely wrecked by a Phanpy.
Yeah, which is so funny.
Yeah.
So we've been taught a powerful lesson by Dream Molly here, and that's cheating is okay.
And I took that with me in life.
And thus I purchased my first Game Shark.
Yeah.
I wonder if Brock gave her a badge after that. You know what I mean?
Does it count?
I mean, she beat him.
Yeah, but I think it has to be in the gym. It's like, oh, this is an official Pokemon gym battle. You know, like what
there
they
was
say
no
every time.
ref.
Yeah.
Welcome to the chat, Islam. I'm glad you're excited about Italy winning.
But like that doesn't even matter, right? What is the ref there for? Like, we know when a Pokemon is not able to battle. Like,
yeah. Pokemon or so and so's Pokemon is unable to battle. Like, obviously,
like the ref is like being a Pokemon ref has to be the easiest job in the Pokemon world, right? Like,
yeah, like do you call like you're not throwing flags out or like calling penalties.
Do you have to like train to be a Pokemon ref? It's just
You're not like Pikachu just hit Hitmonlee in the nuts. We're gonna have to like dock him a point.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely convinced that every Pokemon ref isn't just a Foot Locker employee on his lunch break.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I'm just here for the free match.
He's just taking a sip of his sword, like, hey, can you ref this? Hey, sure, why not?
He's like, you already have a shirt.
Just imagine someone being like at the elite or like at the Pokemon Championship, and it's just like, I am the most elite Pokemon ref. Like, bro, what does that even mean?
do you do?
What do you do? What do you do? Anyway.
That's what we need now is an episode of the show focused on Pokemon
Explaining
reffing. Just so they can
Pokemon
explain what they
refereeing.
do. And I hope they just acknowledge that they don't do anything.
Like, I just get paid to stand here.
But yeah, so after Molly dematerializes all these Pokemon she's pretended to love, Delia picks up a book, Professor Hale's book, and reads from it and starts to talk to the real Molly about it. And Molly is a broken child, and this is way more heavy stuff than any of those previous Pokemon movies had. they really delve into some serious psychological trauma in this one.
Again, this kid needs so much counseling.
Which honestly
like
is part of what
years
makes
of
this
counseling.
one so much more enjoyable as an adult, because it's not like, it's not shying away from like some serious things, like,
Yeah.
psychological torment and all that. Molly learns that you don't have to be an adult to be a Pokemon gym leader from when she's talking with Misty, and so she decides she doesn't want to be adult anymore and becomes a teen instead. And then Molly floods the room with water, but they can still breathe in it. So Ash and Pikachu run up the stairs through the water, even though it's very clear they should have just been swimming at that point. Swimming would have been a lot faster than running up the stairs, but okay. James,
The effect of this, though, with like I said, I like the effect of the water like coming in and
it looked
filling the whole area. It's really cool.
Yeah.
James asks how they can breathe underwater, and Jesse tells him sometimes it's better not to ask questions.
That's literally us right now.
Us right now.
Asking,
It's a dream world. It's a dream world. At this
Yeah.
point, the answer is it's a dream world.
Yeah.
And then Meowth responds, I have a question I shouldn't ask. Do you think we will get a bigger part in the next movie?
Love this line.
Which, of course, is continuing the tradition of fourth wall breaks that Team Rocket has had.
What is it?
Like,
Oh,
the creators know. The creators know that Team Rocket has no role in this movie.
What is it that Ash says to them in the last movie? He said they're like doing the prepare for trouble thing. He's like, I'll catch it on home video or whatever.
Yeah. No, that is probably the funniest part of like any Pokemon movie where like Ash just completely interrupts them, just like
I don't have time for this. The runtime's an hour 30. Leave me alone.
So Heidi doesn't like Pokemon really at all because she didn't grow up with it. But we were watching Pokemon the first movie, and the whole like the Viking line comes up, and it's like, "They're still Vikings." Like, yeah, I think they're mainly in Minnesota, and she just like loves that joke so much.
It's such a classic joke. That's the best joke from the first movie for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ash and Pikachu finally make it upstairs, and they find Delia and the child Molly, and they are going to leave. So they wake Molly up and tell her that Delia is not Molly's mama. This makes Molly very upset, so she summons sharp crystal spikes all over the place.
Yeah.
Ash and Delia... Oh, go ahead.
Like, here's the thing. Like, this girl seems to be smart for her age. And it's just like, you should know that that's not how moms work. You know what I mean? You should know that this is not how moms work. Like, the dad thing, like, I get it. Like, you could just be like, you're coping, like, or it's just like, oh, like, you know,
That's
I can
the
be
same
like,
voice of your dad, literally.
yeah, you can be the replacement of my dad type thing. But, like, this other thing, like, you can't just steal women and say, you are my mom now. You know what I mean?
This is a powerful lesson. Listen up, kids. You cannot steal women and claim them as your mama. Yes, Islam brings up in the chat, does James say about the unknowns, they look literally like letters or something like that? In the Danish version, he says something in Danish, which means they literally look like letters. Yeah, he does. He says that when they come into the room with all the unknowns earlier in the movie, and like, what, they look like a bunch of letters. Oh, good. You're very, very astute, James. But yeah, so all these spikes pop up all over the place, and Ash and Delia are trying to escape, but Entei shows up to stop them. Ash chooses Totodile to battle Entei, but can't even hit him, and Totodile gets absolutely wrecked. And then he foolishly comes to the conclusion that somehow a fire type will be more effective, but it, of course, is not. So Pikachu tries as well, and Entei is just way too freaking cool in this sequence. Like, yes, it's a dream Entei, but like, I'm confident actual Entei is equally as badass. He pretty much has to.
Yeah.
He is so fast, and he's honestly monstrous. It's like he's a little bit scary, even for a Pokemon movie like this. Like we were talking about how this could very easily be made into a scary movie. Entei looks ferocious here, which is something that they haven't done with the other legendary Pokemon that they've battled so far in the previous movies.
I could go for them showing Entei in another movie or something, him coming back in some way.
I'm pretty sure he does show up in another movie, but it's a shiny version of Entei. I don't remember which movie it is though, but there's definitely a movie I know that has Entei because
I know
a bunch of legendaries show up.
Yeah, and a lot of these movies recently too have been reintroducing Pokemon, like in bringing back Ho-Oh and Pokemon movie I Choose You, or bringing Ho-Oh in that, and then even in what was the next one? It was like The Power of Us or whatever. I think Lugia shows back up in that, if I'm not mistaken. That's the one that introduces Zeraora as like a legendary. But anyways, you can continue. I just was trying to think like it'd be cool.
Yeah, and I also wanted to say that like, because with Entei being my favorite Pokemon, I don't think this movie is the reason why Entei is my favorite Pokemon. But like, I don't know for certain. But I just want to say like, it's for me like again like the Pokemon. What makes a Pokemon cool to me isn't like the statistics or whatever of the games. It's like the design and the name. And Entei is the fucking coolest name for any Pokemon, like in my opinion so far. And I just love the design. Like it's really really cool. Like it's actually kind of funny because like I think about the look of Entei. I'm like, this is something I could see Tetsuya Nomura draw. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it would fit like. It would fit his art style, and I'm just all about his art style. So that makes a whole lot of sense in hindsight. And I also wanted to say that what was the other thing I was gonna say? I lost it.
You are correct though that Entei does show up in Zoroark, however you pronounce that Pokemon's name. That movie, there's a shiny version that shows up.
Oh, so the other thing I wanted to mention, which was really really cool, just quick side tangent, is I like. The last time there was ever like a real Comic Con here in Reno, someone showed up and he had like Entei armor. Like he had an Entei mask.
That's really cool.
Like it was really fucking cool. Like it again, it was just like such a hard pull. I was just like, Entei armor? What?
That's
it was so cool.
Okay, so where were we? Oh yeah, so Ash and Delia are trying to escape. And they're absolutely trapped. So this is when Ash and Pikachu get blown out of the house and are falling to their deaths, and are saved at the last minute by Charizard, who has flown all the way from the Charizard Sanctuary here to save them just in the nick of time. Charizard flies them back up and then charges Entei and is immediately defeated.
Yeah.
So they go from this big triumphant moment where Charizard swoops in to save the day, and you think that everything's going to turn around, but no, Entei is a golden god, and there's no stopping him. So
it was a fun like segment though, when they're cool. Like,
for sure,
when they're chasing and things like that, and
I like that part a lot where Entei's like jumping around on like the little things,
and
behind.
It's like synced to the music while he's jumping. Really, really cool stuff there. Yeah. Charizard gets beaten. Ash almost falls out of the tower again, but is caught by Brock, who is being held by Misty, who is being held by Team Rocket. And Team Rocket breaks the fourth wall again, saying, "If anything happens to you, we'll be out of show business."
Yep.
Really funny.
I love so much of this movie. Then we have the fight with Charizard and Entei we were just talking about, where they sync up everything to the score really well, and every time Entei leaps, more crystals get generated. But honestly, this is the only time that the score stood out to me, though, in this movie. Obviously, the music, we've talked about it, the music in Pokemon the Movie 2000, like the actual score is awesome. And this is the only time in Pokemon 3, the movie, that I felt like it was noticeable. Like the rest of the time, the music is just kind of there. How do you guys feel about the music in this one?
I really just think of like the creepy Unown song when I think of this movie. If I'm being
honest. Was going to mention it later, but the part where Entei is trying to break down the unknown barrier at the end. I was like ready to mention like the music did not need to go this hard at this moment. Like, if you go back and watch that scene, it's like the music goes so hard. It's so good. I love it.
But yeah, this
I'll
is
have to
definitely the
rewatch
best.
the end scene.
This is the best moment for me musically. And then Ash attempts to plead with Entei to let Molly go, to which Entei says, whether it's right or wrong, I will do as she wishes, which to me is pretty cool. That a thing that they've set up several times in the movie, that the end result is basically entirely up to Molly. It's whatever Molly wants is actually what's going to happen here, and she's literally in control of the whole situation.
Yeah.
And so then Entei is going to kill Charizard because Molly hasn't stepped in to stop him yet, and then she finally does. And the gang convinces Molly that if she comes with them, she'll make real friends and be a real trainer. So she finally says the magic words that she wants things to be real again, and all the illusions and crystals begin to disappear. Entei is going to walk off and disappear when the crystals go crazy again and begin spawning everywhere. So Entei leads them to the staircase, and they head down. At this point, the Unown are generating so much psychic energy they can't even control it, and the crystal is spreading to the rest of the town, engulfing everything. So they finally find the Unknown's chamber, and Ash, as always, attempts to solve the problem by literally charging it and tackling it head on.
Yep.
Which he does in every movie.
Look, he's 10. He's 10, okay?
So then the Unown chamber that they're in, Pikachu and Charizard blast holes in the barrier together, temporarily, but end up getting repelled. And all seems lost until Entei blasts into the room to save Molly and attacks the very Unown that have created him, which is just so cool.
Creators.
Yep.
And then Entei tells Molly to believe in him harder, and like Santa Claus in the movie Elf, she does.
Like he can do anything. He can do anything if she believes he can, which I really like that moment.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's a touching moment, and it's fun that she still has a tie to Entei here, despite now knowing that Entei is not her father.
Yeah.
She still has an emotional tie to this Entei who's been very kind to her and is able to power him up. So then he gets his power boost and forces his way through the barrier and then blows up the Unown. There were no survivors. No, but Molly finally calls Entei by his actual name instead of Papa, indicating that she has fully come to terms with the situation and is going to be okay mentally, but only after decades of therapy.
Seriously. She's still there today.
She's still in therapy to this date. The Scrabble board of letters rains down from the portal, and the Unown head home and take all of their psychic crystals with them. And they reappear in their desert temple and decide to let Professor Hale back out. How he's going to get home from the desert temple is not explained. And coincidentally, in the Japanese version of the movie, Professor Hale doesn't return home until partway through the credits. So it's like it was a post-credit scene in the Japanese version of the movie. For the U.S., they thought that U.S. audiences don't tend to stay through the credits, so if they put it at the end of the credits like they did for the Japanese version, people would leave the theater thinking that Molly is an orphan. And so they moved that sequence up in the movie so that you could see that before the credits roll.
I guess I didn't even realize that. For some reason I thought it was in the credits as well too, but
it's in the credits. It's like during the like main credits, but like I think
it's like right as the credits start to roll.
It was like
right?
an MCU post-credit type scene.
Okay.
So, then later in the credits,
That's when the mom shows up,
his
right?
mom shows up, or her mom shows up, rather. Professor Hale's wife, who had mysteriously disappeared, and no one mentioned that ever again. She shows up.
Where does she just come from?
Like 6 minutes into the credits, she shows up, and there's no explanation.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why?
It felt like the sort of thing that could have been a really important part of the movie.
Who shows up?
The mom.
Yeah, like 6 minutes into the credit, Molly's mom shows up.
Yeah.
What?
She's okay.
She just shows back up.
And
I
there's no
stopped partway
explanation.
through because it didn't show any characters anymore.
Which is exactly why they moved Professor Hale's return up in the credits in the first place.
Bitch,
Yeah, so she just shows up. They never explain where she came from. Like, she's just back.
She's just back. And then we never will get that answer because that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I thought she was like missing or she was like dead.
She was, and they just never talk about it, and then all of a sudden she's back.
Like, literally, it's a line where they say, and Professor Hale's wife mysteriously disappeared many years ago, and then they never mention that again. And then she shows up at the end. It's like, this feels like something that, like, when they had the idea, like, oh, and Molly's mom should be missing. That'll be really cool. And then they got to the end of the movie, and they're like, oh, man, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to bring Molly's mom back.
Yeah, and they just, like, throw it in. Like, it doesn't, they don't explain it at all. They don't say that, like, the unknown let her out or anything. She's just back. So, it's really weird.
I think it's safe to assume that Molly's mom was having an affair.
She just came back.
and finally came home.
Yeah. I want to correct myself earlier because I did mention the showing up Pokemon and like I Choose You. It was actually Entei that shows up in that movie. So I wanted to make sure that I fact checked myself on that before somebody said anything. Cool. So Entei is in fact an I Choose You. It's the Pokemon that all the trainers are trying to catch, and like there's like a storm and they go hide in a cave, and that's Entei like the wild Pokemon with it.
Okay, well, so that's Pokemon 3, the movie, Spell of the Unknown, Entei.
The horror movie.
The horror movie. Obviously, I had a lot of fun watching this again. I made a lot of jokes about silly things in the movie, but I do really enjoy this movie.
Not a single one of these first 3 movies are perfect, but I still love all 3 of them.
Of course. They're far from perfect.
The reason why I really like this movie, and it's kind of a similar reason as to why I really like Pokemon Heroes, is that it's a very, like, intimate movie. It's very, like, small scale in the sense of things. And it's very personal, like, and, like, just the connection, like, at least in this one, like, there's an actual connection to Ash and, like, Pallet Town and things like that I just really like how grounded isn't the right word because there is some like ridiculous things that they play with but
grounded in family I guess like would be a good way
well
exactly.
You're absolutely right about the smaller scale of it, Cam. The first 2 movies are about like world-ending cataclysms that
and this one's about
saving a little girl.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing that I think that is really cool because you just don't see that often. Because Forever's kind of like on the 1 and 2 side. Heroes is like it's bigger, but it's like city. It's like about the city that they're in and things like that. And then like it feels like almost all the other ones are just like on 1 and 2 level, like the Jirachi, the Deoxys movie, like all of them are just like
when you get to Hoopa literally summons every other legendary Pokemon all at once. Like that's straight up a kaiju movie at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So I like the intimacy that this film has, which is one of the big reasons why it's it's my favorite. But again, like I think that 2000 is the best one. And I would say like, despite my love for it, like I would say like the first movie is also better just because it's just a better tight-knit plot overall than this one.
I really like this one, and I'm also with you where I tend to like the smaller scale movies where it's not like a world-ending event. It's funny that I'm saying that because Pokemon 2000 is my favorite Pokemon movie, and it is a world-ending event, but I think they handle it so well. Like, I think they handle Ash's character development really well in that, and that's why I like it. But, like, there's a lot of MCU movies, for example, where it's like a world-ending event that I just don't care about. As where, like, if it's a smaller scale event, I tend to care about it a little bit more in those, and, like, the more personal stories, like you're saying. And I've never really talked about Pokemon Heroes on this, but Pokemon Heroes is one of my favorite Pokemon movies.
Yeah, Pokemon Heroes is one of my favorites as well.
Well, so now we have to get to the crux of the matter is ranking this. And Cam, you are included in the vote here.
Sure.
So you get to help rank this. So far, our current rankings are number 1, Pokemon the Movie 2000, and 2, Pokemon the First Movie. So I assume Cam's going to put this as number 1.
No. I'm gonna be realistic. Like I'm gonna be like
okay.
realistic about this. I definitely think it's not number 1. Whether it goes 2 or 3, I kind of want to hear your guys' opinions. Because I could be swayed either way. Again, like I think that the first one, like the plot is definitely better. But I would say that there are some things about the third movie that I genuinely like just enjoy more about that movie than the first movie. That I could see it go either way.
So Dustin, what do you think?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I obviously when you're a kid, it's always like when they go bigger or like they add more stuff to movies, you typically tend to like them more as they go along because there's like more action and stuff. But upon rewatching these, I do think, in my opinion, this was the weakest of the 3. It's not to say that I disliked it in any way because I had a lot of fun rewatching it, and I like all 3 of these movies. But for me personally, if I'm gonna go back and rewatch the movies, I would rather watch Pokemon the first movie or Pokemon the movie 2000 over this. And again, it's not a bad movie in any sense of the word. I really like it. I love all the
and we want to
Dream
stress
World
that
stuff.
because there are going to be bad.
There are bad
that
Pokemon
we're going to
movies,
talk about
for sure. And I honestly I think these 3. There's some of the later movies that I do really like, but I do think these 3 are some of the best in the whole series of movies. So even if this movie.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, I think like the first 5 are like objectively top 5, and then after that, it kind of goes.
See,
like...
for me, I actually really liked the Deoxys movie.
I love the Deoxys movie.
I didn't love the Jirachi movie, so it's like I
Yeah.
would say the first 7 are all really good, but the Jirachi movie for me is a little.
I love the Deoxys movie. Like, it's so good. Like, if out of any movie that like I would say like I would love to come on this episode, like this movie for, it would be Deoxys after this movie. I love Deoxys.
I mean, I think it's subjective that the first 5 are definitely like some of the better ones for sure. I agree with you there. But for me, I would put it at number 3.
It's interesting you guys like Deoxys so much to me because that's not anywhere near the tops for me. But maybe I just need to rewatch it.
I think I just like the Rayquaza, like Deoxys, like stuff.
That's cool.
And
it's
that,
like,
and I really like the
flying around
city.
Up there preventing Deoxys from it.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah. I like the city. I like
the city's really cool.
I like the sense of adventure that's in that that's in that movie.
It did kind of feel a little bit like a kaiju movie, like the 2 monsters like fighting over the city, and like it just was cool. I like the way they did it. But we'll talk about that eventually when we review that one. But so I put this at 3.
And I gotta agree with that. I think 3, Pokemon movie, the movie 3, is the third best of the original 3. It's not by as big of a margin as I used to think it was. I've appreciated this a lot more on rewatches than my memory of it was. It's good, and I love Entei. He's one of my favorite legendaries, one of my favorite Pokemon, period. And so I was so stoked about this, but honestly, and this is what cements it as the third spot for me, is that it's not actually Entei.
And I think that's a big part of it for me too, is that it's not the real Entei.
I mean, it's cool.
See, here's the thing though. When I think about Entei, I think about this Entei. You know what I mean? This is
so
Entei
you've been lied to, Cam.
No, it's like it doesn't matter like that he's a dream version. It's Entei, and I don't know. Like I think that because the thing is like there are multiple like they're bad about doing it, but they're all multiple of each legendary. So it's just for me, it's like that is Entei to me. Like when I think about Entei's voice, I think about Dan Green as Entei. Like that is Entei to me. I don't know. Like, and maybe it's just because I grew up with this movie, but that's Entei to me. Entei is the Entei we get in Pokemon Third.
It's not even that I dislike this version of Entei, but I see where Jeff's coming from because it is like it's just a I don't even know what the right word is, like a projection, like a fabric, because I was gonna say a man-made thing, or like that's not even necessarily true either. And then Mewtwo's also a man-made Pokemon, so that's not really a good argument. But I don't know, something about the fact that it's not a real Pokemon to me does kind of like sour me a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sour's not the right word. Like it just it
It taints it. It taints it.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting a story because like Entei was already one of my favorite Pokemon before the movie came out. So I was wanting a story about this Pokemon that I had already decided I loved, and then it's kind of not.
Yeah, like I thought they were gonna bring in like the real version of Entei, like they had in all the other movies, and so that was, I think for me, it was more of a like, that's kind of okay. I guess we're going this route. Again, it's not bad. I like this movie, and I like what they do with the character of Entei in this movie. It's just like it's a personal thing for me that I think I am coming from the same place as Jeff. It sounds like on that.
But yeah, so Cam, are you agreeing then? Third spot for Pokemon the movie 3?
Yeah, that's something that like I can understand. Like it's again, I think that it has very specific things that I really, really love, but like in the grand scheme of things and just with Pokemon, I don't want to like think super logically when it comes to Pokemon things, but I feel like that like the sense of logic in this film is like the weakest by far. But again, I like that. I like I really liked the intimacy of the story and how it
I
just
like
felt.
Molly as a character too.
Yeah,
honestly.
it felt more personal. I liked the way that they implemented battles into the story, which I know that can be like very that can be very polarizing in certain movies on how they implement that stuff. But yeah, I think it's a third is a solid spot.
And in all likelihood, it's going to remain.
Yeah, I was gonna say the top three is probably gonna.
It will likely remain high up there. Like again, like I think Pokemon Forever is great. I think Heroes is great. I like the Deoxys movie a lot. And I think like the Deoxys movie is kind of like in a similar boat of how I feel about the third movie. Is that like there's certain things I really like about that movie that make it really beloved for me. But like would I put it above like Pokemon 2000 or like Pokemon Heroes or like certain, because I think Pokemon Heroes is legitimately great. Like I think Pokemon Heroes.
I really like Pokemon Heroes as well too.
I like Pokemon Heroes is probably just like from an objective standpoint the closest I would think that could potentially overthrow 2000. Like it's just really really good across the board from what I remember. So
I'm excited to rewatch because I've rewatched these first three so many times, and I rewatched some of them when Detective Pikachu was coming out. I wanted to like rewatch some of the animated movies.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like going in between movies, so it's been a while since I've watched
100%
Heroes and Deoxys and those ones.
So now we're almost to the end of our show, which means we're in our last segment, which is our Rank That Pokemon segment.
Theme song pending.
Theme song still pending. Which this week we are ranking Pokemon number 491, which is Darkrai.
Finally something that's not Scrafty or Bellsprout.
Yeah, we have a fun one to talk about here. So just to give the top 10 of our current ranking, because we do one per episode. In number 10, we have Poliwag with a 3-star rating. Number 9, Hariyama, 3.5. 8, Duat, 3.5. 7, Rookie D, 3.5. 6, Shieldon, 3.5. 5 is Rockruff with a 4. 4 is Floatzel with a 4. 3 is Galarian Zigzagoon at a 4. 2, Sirfetch'd at a 4. And our current number 1, our guy Squirtle with a 5-star rating.
Turtle.
So
yeah,
I've had it up on the screen for a little while so people can get a look at Darkrai in case they forgot what he looks like. But how could you forget Darkrai? He's a legendary Pokemon.
And then, so Cam, with these, basically we're ranking them on like usability, how powerful they are, the design of the Pokemon, shiny, like what their appearance is in movies / anime. I really like Darkrai. I'm gonna be honest. Like, this is the first time in a while where I'm like, okay, here's a Pokemon that I actually really, really like. So now, granted, I'm gonna just be spoilers now. I don't think Darkrai is better than Squirtle.
Agreed.
No,
I'm gonna get that out of the way now. Squirtle is still number 1, regardless of. Yeah.
Agree. So I'm going to do this based off of my feelings of the Pokemon that I'm seeing here, and then like your rankings based off like your guys' scale, because like some of the like y'all were liberal with some of these, in my opinion. Like I wouldn't give Surfetch'd a 4. I wouldn't give Galarian Zigzagoon a 4.
So we give the starters, we give them credit for what they can become.
Yeah.
So because Galarian Zigzagoon
still would not give it a 4.
Gets to be
but,
Obstagoon. He got some bonus points. But you're right. We're also like having to take into account the comparison to the other stuff we have on our list.
Yeah, like, but like, also for me, like, I would definitely have put Delibird higher. I think Delibird's a really cool Pokemon.
Real quick question, since you brought him up, I have to ask: did you know that the presents that Delibird gives out come out of his tail? That
like his bag is a tail.
Is his tail?
No, and that makes him even cooler.
Okay.
Yeah,
it goes one of two ways. You either think that's really cool or really gross.
That's super cool.
I like cool. Honestly, for me, I think Delibird, like, we obviously have only done 18 Pokemon at this point in time that we've like ranked, but Delibird is for me is higher than I ever thought I would have had Delibird, if I'm being honest. Because I've never really loved Delibird, but then like reading about Delibird and everything.
I think Delibird's cool. I don't know. I think he's just like he feels like a what's the right word? I can't think of the word. An anomaly. It's just like when you think about like
he's super
the
unique.
Pokemon and you see like Delibird, like, oh yeah, Delibird. Delibird's actually pretty cool. But you just I don't know. I really like Delibird. All the other ones seem about right of where I would personally rank
we should
them.
also mention that Floatzel is pretty high up there because we had Fiona.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Fiona.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
Fiona's really into otters.
And I was also playing through Diamond or Platinum at the time, and I had just got a Floatzel, and it was my water Pokemon, so I was kind of high on Floatzel.
Yeah, like so personally, based off of how you guys have your ranking set up right now, I would give Darkrai a 4.5.
See, and I also my immediate thought was Darkrai's number 2 easily.
Yes,
on this list.
Also agree with that.
Easily, yeah. So, like, I mean, if you want to put him at a 4, that's also fine. But I'm just saying, like, Darkrai's a lot cooler than Surfetch.
Like,
yeah,
I would almost put him at 5.
Way cooler.
I think 4.5 is right.
Because, like, here's the thing. Because, like, when I think about, okay, like, we were just talking about, like, Entei. Like, Entei's a fucking 5, dog. Like, you know what I mean?
100%.
Like, Suicune is a fucking 5. Raikou, like, I could see, like, a 4.5, like, 5.
Maybe even a 5, yeah.
You know? Yeah. And, like, so when I think about that compared to Darkrai, I'm like, Darkrai is cool. But, like...
That's kind of one of the hardest parts about doing the like the point scale like this is there's going to be a lot of 5-star Pokemon on this list, and it's going to be more so like, okay, we already know this Pokemon's a 5. Where are they ranking against the other 5-star Pokemon?
Yeah, exactly. And, yeah, I think when you see a Pokemon, like, you know it's a 5 when you see it, and it's just Darkrai, like, it's close, but it's not there.
I think I might even go as low as a 4 with Darkrai because Darkrai is misleading to me. Darkrai, while it does have dark in its name, I still feel like it should also be a ghost type, but it's not. It's just dark. It's just a dark type Pokemon, but it looks like it should be a ghost type. So it's gotten me into trouble using it in games where I'm like, oh yeah, ghost type, throw him out there. Whoops, nope, that was not a good type advantage. My bad.
Like, I my memory might be a little fuzzy, but I feel like Darkrai, being a Sinnoh legendary, is like, there haven't been, like, I don't know if I can think off the top of my head of a legendary Pokemon that I like the design of more since Darkrai or like Sinnoh. So that's why I'm trying to look here really quick, because like I'm looking. I mean, like, I'm not comparing against other Sinnoh legendaries. Like Giratina is pretty cool, but like, there's what there's the 3 like the Swords of Justice Pokemon. The 3 like there's them.
And
don't really care about them.
Verizon Wireless and the other
there's
one.
the nature ones like Tornadus, Thundurus, Land, whatever. Reshiram and Zekrom are pretty cool, but I would still say I would give it over to Darkrai.
I would too.
Well, and even Kyurem is kind of a goofy looking.
It's because he's not symmetrical.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like just keep on looking down here, like,
And
yeah,
I'm just
I like, for me, I think Darkrai is probably like, since like all the Pokemon since then, like, is the or like 5th gen on is like the best design legendary. So I would say it deserves a 4.5.
I'm with Cameron on the 4.5, especially because I like the whole like can kind of like control dreams, and we literally just watched a movie that had to do with dreams, so it's kind of funny that we got Darkrai.
Yeah, but I'm also weird because like I would probably give like Shaman, another Sinnoh legendary that looks like that's kind of like just like a deer, like a grass deer. I would probably give that a high rating too.
Well, Shaman is kind of tricky though too, because Shaman has different like forms.
It's like the hedgehog form, and
but both forms. I'd just be like, I think Shaman's really cool. I think Shaman's a really cool name. I don't know. So
no, I'm with you on the Darkrai being a 4.5.
So we're saying 4.5, and that puts Darkrai in at number 2 on our list, making our new top 10. Hariyama, Duat, Rookie D, Shieldon, Rockruff, Floatzel, Galarian Zigzagoon, Surfetched, Darkrai, and then our guy Squirtle, still reigning supreme as he deserves.
The thing for me too with anything after Squirtle and Darkrai is from 3 all the way through 10. Those are all Pokemon that, like, if they get pushed on the list, I don't really care.
And they're
all fine.
Yeah,
like we like a lot of those. I
like Rockruff.
I think part of it is when we go in to do these rankings, we're looking for reasons why we like them, and we end up liking them better while we're trying to think of the reasons why we like it.
And then when we look back on it later, we don't like them as much as maybe we did the first time.
That's true. Although I think part of it was when we did Zigzagoon, because we do a random number generator to come up with it. We did Zigzagoon, and so therefore we also had to do Galarian Zigzagoon at the same time.
And we're like, Galarian Zigzagoon's way cooler.
And Galarian Zigzagoon's way cooler because he can evolve an extra time, and so we gave him credit for that.
That's fair.
So yeah, he's not going to be top 4 overall or top 5 overall. Probably next Pokemon. Who knows?
Yeah, it depends on what we get next time. But nothing will ever be worse than Scrafty. So I mean, let's just.
I don't know, man. There's probably a worse Pokemon than Scrafty. Well, you'd have to think about it. Maybe like Hoppip or something.
I've been like Hoppip more than Scrafty.
At least Scrafty has a thing, Like Hoppip's just what is that? Oh, we'll get to it later though.
Yeah.
So that's gonna do it for us here this week. Once again, I want to thank Cameron Hawkins here for joining us. Really appreciate you coming through to talk about your favorite Pokemon movie, and it was an absolute joy to have you with us.
Absolutely.
Tell us again, where can we find you? What do you got coming up?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at CamFinalMix, and I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/CamFinalMix, and I'm just kind of vibing right now. Don't got really anything coming up, so
just watch them on Twitch.
Yep.
Follow and subscribe. Speaking of that, you can find me right here on twitch.tv/GoodGameGrizz. If you haven't already, please throw me a follow. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you have the means to give me a subscription, whether that be the free one you get from Amazon or if you want to give me actual money, fantastic. I'd absolutely love that. But you can also follow me on Twitter at GoodGameGrizz, where you can find out about all the stuff that I'm involved with, different shows and things I'm participating in. And if you got questions about Pokemon, hit me up there, or you can hit us up on the Pod-ket Monsters Twitter as well, at Pod-ket Monsters.
Yep.
And
YouTube as well if you want to watch anything. Well, I was going to promote Pod-ket Monsters, but now that I don't have a wedding that's controlling my life, I may try to get back into streaming again. So it's just at DDanger10 on Twitch. I'll probably, after I finish Ratchet and Clank, I'm going to jump into Mass Effect. Maybe I'll stream some Mass Effect 2 once I hit that, because I've already started Mass Effect 1, so I don't really want to just start my stream in the middle of it. And I can't wait to get back to Mass Effect, so I'm excited for that. That's really it. Just Twitch.
All right. Well, so that's going to do it for this week. If you're watching live, hang around. We're going to open some packs of Pokemon cards like we always do. Otherwise, join us for our next episode of Pod-ket Monsters.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.